Hello, mamas, and welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and it is Saturday. It is the weekend. I hope you guys had an amazing week this week, and I hope you guys this weekend is off to a great start. This week was a little quiet for me. I'm still on bereavement from my 9 to 5, so this week was a little bit quieter for me. The calls, the messages, and stuff started to slow down. So this week was just me kind of sitting in my thoughts and in my feelings and stuff like that. And so yeah, and I actually had a pretty good week. It wasn't bad. It was kind of like the calm before, because next week is my last week on bereavement, and I have a lot of things to do. And I'm finding that when you have a spouse that passes away, it's a lot like when you first get married. So as far in the terms of like all these things, like this laundry list of things you have to do, because when you get married, like you gotta change your name, get a new ID, get a new social security card, call all your utility bills and stuff like that, change your name and all that good stuff, do all the things. And it's kind of like that when your spouse dies too. I'm not changing my name or anything like that, but there's a few like follow-up things I need to do, like with the funeral home, like for his headstone, and then other things like I have to call the places and utilities that were in his name, and get them changed to my name and all that good stuff. So all that's next week. This week I just kind of wanted to relax and chill and do all those things, like just kind of just be in my feelings. So that's how my week went. Yesterday took the kids to their little fall carnival that was for their school, and they had a really fun time. It was kind of nice to be out and having fun with the kids and stuff, and seeing them, run and play with their friends and all that. So that was good. But we finally made it to the weekend, and this is episode 10, y'all. Clap it up. We made it to episode 10. I told you soon it's going to be episode 20, 50, 100, and then it's going to take off to the moon. But thank you guys again for being here. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me for 10 episodes. And so we're going to get into today's motherhood quote of the day, which reads, "Mother is a verb. It's something you do, not just who you are." And I agree with that. I agree that mother is an action. It's definitely a verb. So I encourage all the mamas out there to just embrace it. Like, do what you do, how only you can do it, because there's no one else on this planet that can be the mother that you can be to the children that you have. Bars. Even though none of it rhymed, but it was like a soliloquy, a poem or whatever. But yeah, just go out there and just do the things, do all the mother things. And yeah, I love that quote. I thought it was great. So, like always, that quote has nothing to do with today's episode, y'all. So today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about groups and communities of help and all that good stuff. And what I'm referring to are online communities, because let's face it, humans are online the majority of their day. I'm sure there's a fact or a statistic somewhere that says that, but we're on our phones, online, stuff like that for the majority of our days. And you guys already know there's, communities and groups out there online pretty much for everything you can think of. And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with some groups this week, because in my opinion some of these groups are ghetto. Like they ain't helping nobody. Well, okay, let me not say that because maybe they are, but from me, from a person looking into these groups and seeing like and scrolling through the posts and stuff, I don't know how they're helping anyone. If they are helping someone, I have no idea because none of them were helping me. And I was just like, this is weird and ghetto. And I just want to talk a little bit about that today. Um, so, first question is, are y'all a part of any online groups or communities that you use them as a tool like to help you? So whether it's you're in a business group like to help you like with your business and stuff like that, or you're in a mother group or a motherhood group or something like that to kind of get tips and stuff from other moms. Or like for me, I went out looking for a widows group, a group of women that could relate to what I was going through and relate to my story. And my hope with the group that I was in search of was going to, share insight, resources, stuff like that that would be really helpful for me throughout this new leg of my life journey. So that was my purpose of seeking out a group. Because you can talk to your friends and stuff, but you want to talk to people that are going through the same thing that you're going through or have been through it. And don't get me wrong, my family and my friends, like, they have been great. Like, I love them so much. But there comes a point in time, at least for me, like I need, to talk with people that know exactly, like, and have been through exactly what I'm going through. So that's what I was in search of, basically. My first thought was to be, try to be as specific as possible because I didn't want to just jump into a broad widows group, like with all different, like I didn't want that. So I figured I should find a group where, it's young widows or younger widows and widows that have children, like smaller children. So I thought that would be the type of group that would best fit me. Now, pause. I don't know if any of you guys do this, but I wanted to also find a group of African American women, African American widows, young widows with children. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, there ain't none. At least that I could find. And it's not that I didn't want to give any other groups a chance with other races and stuff like that. Totally not like that. And I actually ended up joining a group that was a mix of male and female. We'll get into that a little later, but after 24 hours, I had to jump right back out because it just wasn't for me. But I'm finding that there are not a lot of young black women who are widows that are out here. They're not telling their stories, and they're not out here, building these communities. And it's kind of got me intrigued. I'm like, I wonder why, because I know they're out there. I know for sure. But I just found that interesting and intriguing that I wasn't able to find a group like that. So, but it's okay. I went on and I pressed on and I joined the group. And y'all, this is why I say it's ghetto. This is why I say this, because really it felt like, okay, first thing that I noticed was most of the posts were saying that I came here to post this because I couldn't post this on my regular Facebook page or my personal Facebook page. So I was wondering why a lot of people were saying that. I'm like, why wouldn't they be able to post this on their regular Facebook? Like, why are they coming here? And then as I was reading, like, some of these posts, like, they're like bad talking so say the husband passed away, they're bad talking like the in-laws, or they're venting about a situation or something going on like with the stepkids or something. And I was like, I don't know if I subscribe to this because to me, like, I feel like if you're not gonna say it to the person, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you come on social media in the first place and say it to strangers? Um, and I was like, I don't necessarily agree with that. But, to each their own, they vent or whatever, do what they gotta do. And then another thing, what I was seeing is I was seeing a lot of posts about them moving on and remarrying and dating and asking questions like, oh, I've been, dating this guy for 6 months. Like, I feel like I'm ready to move on. Like, but I just want you guys' opinions. Like, I know for me, I'm not there. I don't think that I'll ever be there. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that's not the headspace that I'm in right now. I'm not thinking about moving on, finding somebody new, like none of that stuff. I'm not thinking about, and that I saw a lot of posts too about them finally taking off their rings. And like, I was like, I can't, like, I cannot do that. I can't be in that headspace right now. And then lastly, I saw a whole lot of, now mind you, remember I said that this group also had males in it, which is fine. I don't got nothing against a widower. Like, it's all good. But the blatant, like you pretty much posting your dating profile on this group thing, this group community. And so what I was seeing a lot of is a man would post his picture and he doesn't look happy, he doesn't look sad, like he just there, and he makes this long post about it's been such and such years since my wife has been gone, and like I'm missing, having someone to talk to, or to cook dinner with, and blah blah blah. And I feel like I'm ready to take the step and start dating again, but I'm not sure. But I'm like, first red flag for me is like, bro, why you got your picture up here? Like, why do you want to me, it was like you trying to like cast your net out there, like cast your fishing line out there, see who bites. And if it's someone you connect with, you kind of reel them in. Like, I didn't feel like that specific group. Now, when I read the description of the group, what he was doing didn't align with it and didn't fit with it. But I had seen a lot of other people posting that, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is just what they do. But again, it wasn't my cup of tea because I'm not looking for nobody. That wasn't my reason for joining the group. And then also too, like, no one was really sharing any resources or anything like that. No one was sharing best tips or practices. Most, aside from those type of posts, most of the posts were like really sad and like made me even more sad. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't want to see none of the catfish posts. I don't want to see like people bad mouthing their in-laws and family and stuff like that. Like, I'm good. So after 24 hours, I jumped right back out the group. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And I'm kind of wondering, like, for the people that were posting like dating stuff, it's like, why don't you just go to a group? Because I did see some of those groups too, for widows and widowers who are looking to connect with other ones and possibly start a relationship. There are groups like that too. So I feel like if that's what you want to do, you should join one of those groups. But like you guys, they were just blatant. Like, it wasn't like something you had to read between. No, they were definitely like, shooting their shot to whoever was going to bite. And then the picture of them just put the icing on the cake for me. I'm like, yeah, I see through that. Like, you just trying to find a date. Like, and it's cool if you are, just, I didn't feel like that particular group was the platform to do that. So I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's for me. So I just hopped right out. But I wanted to give it a chance because, like I said, I first started out trying to find a group of young Black African American women, who lost their husbands and they have children. So that's what I was looking for, but couldn't find one. So I went for something that aligned, aligned with, based on the description, aligned with what I was looking for. But y'all, it was just really weird. And I hope that people in that group are, finding peace with it. But all I was seeing was just a lot of depressing, sad posts, and no one really offering any help, or encouragement. It was just kind of like, I'm so sorry you're here in this group. Like, and it's like, they know, like, we all know that everyone is sorry, like, for our loss, but, like, I think these people are seeking, like, a community to kind of, like, put their arms around them, and I wasn't feeling that with this group. But now, granted, I only gave it 24 hours, but, like, within that 24 hours, every time I would open up my Facebook, I would see a post from that community, and it was just, like, the ghetto. I was like, I don't know if this is helping anybody. And then the post that made me like just say, I'm just going to go ahead and bow out of this group. I opened up my Facebook and I seen a post from a woman, and she said, she was speaking to the women in the group specifically. And she was like, I've been seeing a lot of posts on here from women who are just letting random men into their homes, after their significant other has passed. And I'm seeing a lot of women in dire situations because they are letting random men in their homes that they barely know just to fill that void. And she put out a disclaimer, and she's like, please, like, you guys stop this. And it's like, you guys are putting yourselves in danger. You're putting your children in danger. Like, and I had to go back. I was like, let me scroll through more of these posts. And sure enough, people are taking their monies, the life insurance that they've been living off of, like, and, abusing their children, abusing them. They letting these men, like, they didn't really know, like, the real about, and turns out that the men are abusers, like, and, taking advantage of them. And I was like, whoa, whoa, like, hell no, hell no, no. And I was like, yeah, this is gonna make me, I'm triggered already. Like, so I was like, you know what? Best thing for me to do is to just get on out of this group, because this is just wild. And I understand it. It's like, for some people, like, they need to be in a relationship. They need to have someone, like a partner. Like, and I feel that, like, man, like, I feel it. But not at the sake of my safety and of my kids' safety, my financial, safe, like, none of that. Like, I'm not doing it. So I was like, you know what? A group may not be for me. So then I was like, well, I did say that I wanted to do therapy. So that's what I did. So, with my job, I get 10 free therapy sessions, to try out a therapist and stuff like that. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I want to share with you guys about this therapist I found, and some of the strange coincidences that I found out that we have in common. But I'll get into that. But once I decided that a online group wasn't for me, I was like, well, let me just go ahead and, book this therapy, and try to get through my grief and stuff through that. So the first therapist that I wanted, I Googled them. They have pretty good reviews, and the same thing too with the therapist. I was looking for African American woman, a little younger, that could kind of relate to my lifestyle right now. Like, no shade against any other type of therapist, any males or any other races. I just wanted someone that I can connect with. and have a really good connection with. So the first woman that I found, she seemed pretty cool. She was near me, but she didn't accept the little 10 session things that my job was offering. So I was like, well, that's not going to work because I don't want to pay for anything unless like I have this therapist is really helping me. And I wouldn't know that yet until I do the 10 free sessions. So I was like, well, she's out. She had good reviews and stuff, and I was kind of bummed. So then I stumbled upon this other therapist. And, I Googled her. She had pretty good reviews too. She's not as young as me. She has grandchildren herself and stuff like that. But I want to say she's kind of like maybe, if just by looking at her, maybe I guess like she's in her late 50s, maybe. I don't know. She could be a young grandparent like my husband was, so I don't know, but she's definitely older than me. So I give the office a call, right? And, first day I call, I get the voicemail. So I leave a message with my name and my number, and I tell them looking to schedule an appointment. So that day I called that morning, and then they never called me back. So for me, that was strike one, because you're running a business, like, you're supposed to, call your people back. So that was strike one for me, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait and see if they call me back. And now it's the next day and they haven't called me back. So I was like, okay, well, let me call them and see if I can get someone on the phone. So this time when I call, someone answers, like a receptionist. And I was like, oh, I want to, book an appointment. I have my 10 free sessions, blah, blah, blah. So we set it up for that day at 5 p.m. So I was like, oh, great. Like, I can get started today. Like, that's cool. 5 p.m. comes and no one, and it's supposed to be like through virtual. So 5 p.m. comes and no call, no link is sent to me, nothing. 5:15 comes, 5:30, 6 o'clock. No one reached out to me from this office or the therapist that I had scheduled. They didn't reach out to me. So I was like, well, damn, now I got to find a new therapist, because for me, that was strike three. I skipped over strike two. It went immediately to strike three because I'm like, they don't care about their patients or whatever. So I was like, I'm good. Like, I'll just go find somebody else. And so the next day, which would have been yesterday, Friday. So I started this process on Wednesday. So Wednesday I called. I got the voicemail. No one called me back. Thursday I got a hold of someone. They scheduled me that day, but no one called. We didn't have the therapy session that day because I didn't hear from anyone. So now it's Friday. I wake up with the mindset that I'm going to find a new therapist. As the day was going on, I hadn't gotten to it yet because it was in the morning. So then I get a text message from the therapist I was supposed to speak with on Thursday. And she said, I'm so sorry, we were dealing with a crisis here. And then, I just couldn't get to you, and I'm so sorry. But can we schedule something for, today, if that's okay? And I was like, you know what? I understand things happen. Trust me, because I understand shit be happening. And I was like, you know what? That's understandable. I appreciate you reaching out. This is the times I'm available today, and, we can meet today. That's fine. And so we set up a time for yesterday, and we did the telepathy thing, however you say that when it's teletherapy. So it was virtual therapy or whatever. So we had our session. It was actually a great session, and I really like her. I connected with her. But let me tell you guys some of the coincidences, right? So everything in me wanted to give up on this therapist when, they ghosted me on my appointment. Everything in me on Friday when I woke up was like, I'm going to find another therapist and, see if I can get my 10 sessions through them. But the way everything worked is that I ended up with her anyway. So right off the bat, I started explaining to her, what's happening and all that stuff. And she asked me what my husband's name was. And I told her, I said, my name is Jahari, and I spelled it out because I thought she was writing it down. She was writing it down. So I spelled it out for her. I wanted her to have the correct spelling. And she was like, I have a granddaughter. My granddaughter's name is Jahari. And I was like, really? I was like, that's so cool. And she was like, and we call her JoJo for short. Now, we never called my husband JoJo, but my daughter calls my youngest is named after my husband. She calls him JoJo. And I was like, wow, isn't that something crazy, right? So then we're talking more, and she starts talking about how she used to work at a funeral home. Guess what funeral home she used to work at? The same funeral home my husband is at. And I was like, whoa, okay, so now I know that the universe made a way, and brought us together for a reason, because we instantly connected. And there was just these coincidences that came up. Well, me and my husband, we always used to say, ain't no such thing as coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. You're connected to people for a reason. There ain't no coincidences. But I thought it was just crazy how I was ready, to find another therapist and give up on this therapist because they ghosted me. But I'm glad I didn't. And I had such a great first session with her, y'all. I felt so good, and she gave me tools and stuff that I could really do and really use to help me through this process. And I like the fact that, she had a talk track already ready for me. It wasn't one of those things well, what do you want to talk about today? And she has a plan set up for us going forward. And I just love that. And I felt so good. I was like, this was what I needed. I didn't need a group or a community. This is what I needed. So, but I just wanted to share that with y'all. And if there's any mamas out there, that are, struggling and want to find someone they can relate to and talk to, because you too may be struggling with motherhood. Because motherhood is ghetto. You may be struggling to get your footing and find your balance in this. And you may be looking to groups and stuff like that, or communities that you can talk to other mothers with and stuff like that. And that's great if you found one that really works for you, that's not toxic, that's not always talking about their baby daddies and stuff like that. All that's good if you find one that works for you. But if you can't, and you want to talk to a therapist, that's cool too. Because if you find one, that you can really connect with and really talk some stuff out with, that is cool. And don't be afraid to either, it's just one of those things, we need help sometimes. Especially as mothers, sometimes we just need that extra outside voice to let us know, no, you're not crazy. No, you're not doing this wrong. And here are some ways you can even do it better. We all need that sometimes. I think as women in general, they put that be strong jacket on us all the time. It's oh, you got to be strong for your kids. You got to be strong for your family. You got to be strong for yourself. And it's man, sometimes we ain't strong. I'm not strong. I'm strong when I need to be, but that's not all the time. There's not all the time that I'm strong. Sometimes I'm just weak. I'm weak. I just want to lay in bed all day. I can't do it. And I feel and even if I wasn't going through what I'm going through, just waking up every day and having to be a mother, I'm responsible for young human lives. I'm tired. I'm not strong. I can't do this. I can't do this without the proper help. And I think that it's okay, if you need the help, to ask for it. I really think that that's cool. That's all right. So I encourage you all, if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like you need an extra outlet to say the things that you need to say and, work out some things, man, just seek out the best avenue for you to do that. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I, made a conscious decision to not get stuck in my grief and stuck, in the feelings that I'm feeling, and actually do something about it so that way I can prevent. I don't know what's to come. I don't know how I'm going to feel as the years go on, but at least I'm taking the steps now, to make sure that my mindset is where it should be at all times. And, I'm staying on that right mental path. And I think that's important for us in general. So, that is what I had to say today for this episode. So I'm going to land the plane here. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at motherhood_is_ghetto, so we can keep the conversation going. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 10. Woohoo! Episode 10. And yeah, just do what you got to do for yourself, y'all. Love yourself. Make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do to make sure that you yourself don't fall by the wayside. Take care of yourself. And until next time, mamas.